A congressman is asking StubHub's founder for his records. The letter is dated the 24th of July. It gives him until the 6th of August to answer. In April, the Federal Trade Commission settled with the company for $10 million over how it showed prices. 11 days before the congressman wrote, a fan filed suit in federal court in Manhattan, naming both the company and the founder. And months before either of those, in the prospectus that took the company public, StubHub wrote down how its fees actually work. That last one is the document nobody's reading. It's the only one that explains the other three. So here's the question this video answers. When you pay a resale platform a percentage of the ticket price, what exactly are you buying? And does the house that collects it have any reason at all to want that price to come down? You know how this was supposed to work? 2 people, a spare seat, a price they agree on. StubHub built the biggest version of that on the internet, and for a long time, it was genuinely great. You'd miss the on sale, a stranger 3 sections over would have 2 extras, and there was finally somewhere to meet them. That's the promise, and it's still how the company describes itself. Its annual report opens by calling it a leading global ticketing marketplace for live events. That's the company's own first line, on screen, dated in its own filing. And the market believed it. Last September, StubHub went public at $23.50 a share. The platform moved $9.2 billion of tickets last year. A marketplace like this has a moat, a reason customers can't easily go elsewhere. StubHub's is liquidity. Buyers come because sellers are there. Sellers come because buyers are there. Neither side can leave first. It's a real moat. The margin is different. The margin is what the house keeps for standing in the middle. And the price of standing in the middle is supposed to be neutrality. The venue doesn't care what the seat costs, it just clears the trade. Except the prospectus describes a fee that cares enormously. Here's the sentence in the company's own words. Service fees per transaction are generally set as a percentage of the total transaction value. Read that slowly because every word is working. Not a percentage of the face price, not a flat amount per ticket. A percentage of the total transaction value, which is whatever the seller decided to ask. And before we go further, StubHub does not set resale prices. Sellers do. That's not a technicality, it's the whole basis of a marketplace, and nothing in this video suggests otherwise. But hold the 2 facts together. The seller picks the number. The house takes a percentage of it. Watch what the chart does when the seller moves. The fee is a fixed percentage of the transaction value, so when a reseller raises the ask, the house's revenue on that ticket rises automatically. Nobody at StubHub has to do anything. Nobody has to want it. The line goes up with the ask because that's what a percentage does. Which raises the obvious question, how big a percentage, and does it stop? The company answers the first half itself. Its most recent annual report says it has maintained a consistent ratio of average service fees to gross merchandise sales of approximately 20% annually over its history. Look at the shape of that line, not the level. The point isn't that it's high, the point is that it's flat. This isn't a company that ratcheted its fees up last year and got caught. By its own account, it's been about 1/5 of everything sold every year for as long as it's existed. That's not a spike, that's the design. Now the second half. Where does it stop? This next card is a chart of an absence. Search the entire prospectus for a fee cap, a ceiling, a maximum, any point at which the percentage stops applying. The count is 0. The only place the word appears is an unrelated passage about a British competition ruling. So, A percentage on a price the seller chooses with no disclosed ceiling. That's the whole mechanism, and it's on file with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, is that unusual? Genuinely, because a lot of companies price this way. Here's where a comparison helps. Ticketmaster owns the pipe. When a venue signs an exclusive, every ticket for that building passes through one company. The fee is the toll for a road you can't drive around. StubHub owns no pipe. There's no exclusive. A seller can list on SeatGeek or Vivid or Ticketmaster's own resale or all of them at once. So put the two structures side by side. The monopoly and the open market charge on the same basis, a percentage of what the ticket sells for. And that's the interesting part. If the same fee logic shows up with a monopoly and without one, then the percentage isn't a symptom of market power. It's a choice about how to get paid, which means it can be examined on its own terms. And between two filings, the company changed a word in how it describes that rate. This is small, and it's worth 30 seconds. In September of last year, the prospectus said the ratio had been maintained in excess of 20% annually over the company's history. Same sentence, same position in the document, 6 months later. In the first annual report the company filed as a public company, that phrase reads approximately 20%. 2 documents, 2 dates, 1 word changed. We're not going to tell you why. We don't know why, and neither does anyone else outside the company, but it's on the record both times, and you can read both. What we can tell you is who was on the other side of some of those transactions. StubHub is described in the congressman's letter quoting the company's own marketing as the leading marketplace for fans to buy and sell tickets. Set that beside 2 sentences from the prospectus. The first, Andro Capital is a seller on our platform and in the normal course of business has engaged us to support ticket management and list and fulfill its tickets on its behalf since 2008. The second, Eric H. Baker, our founder and chief executive officer, is currently the managing partner of Andro. And you should know how we learned that. StubHub disclosed it. Every fact in this video about Andro Capital comes out of StubHub's own filing. The company's position, when asked last month, was that it's fully disclosed in the SEC filings, and there's nothing to add beyond what's in them. That's accurate. The disclosure is real. What we're doing is reading it. The chart is 2 sentences from 1 document. A marketplace for fans to buy and sell tickets, one of whose sellers for 18 years has been a fund run by the man who runs the marketplace. And there's a 3rd sentence in the same filing, in the risk factors. The company is controlled by its founder and chief executive officer, Eric H. Baker. Now hold that, because there's a number attached to it, and it runs the wrong way. You'd assume if the CEO's fund sells tickets on the CEO's platform, that the story is the fund paying the platform. Fees flowing in like any other seller. 2 bars, same year, same section of the same filing. In the year ending December 2023, StubHub earned about $100,000 in fees from Andro's sales. In the same year, StubHub paid Andro $1.6 million under a side letter between them. Both dollar figures are on screen. Do the division yourself. The money moved toward the fund by more than 10 times what came back. That's not our estimate. It's 2 lines from the company's own related party disclosure, same fiscal year, same page. And this is the receipt that matters, because it isn't a quote against a number. It's the company's own document against itself. The prospectus that brands the platform a marketplace 367 times and never once uses the word neutral is the same prospectus carrying that payment line. And it is not the last percentage claim in the file. Before the last step, the strongest argument against everything I've just said. It deserves a real hearing. Percentage pricing is not unusual. Almost every marketplace on the internet is priced this way, and there are good reasons for it. The platform carries payment risk that scales with the price. Fraud, chargebacks, the guarantee that gets you into the building or gets your money back. A percentage matches the fee to the value at risk, and it doesn't punish small sellers with a flat charge they can't absorb. If a percentage fee is a conflict of interest, then every two-sided market on Earth has one. That argument is correct, and it is the best defense the structure has. So the question isn't whether a percentage is legitimate. It's what happens when you find a second one. Deeper in the same related party section, under the same heading, there's a program agreement dated the 17th of July, 2024. Under it, StubHub refers certain of its own sellers to a company called Colloquy for the opportunity to enter into separate financing arrangements. Money to buy tickets with. The filing describes Colloquy in its own words, an affiliate of Andro. Now watch the single ticket at the bottom of this chart. When a seller takes that financing, the filing says StubHub will disperse to Colloquy a percentage of the seller's proceeds as consideration for the financing. That's a second percentage on the same ticket, flowing to an affiliate of the fund the chief executive manages. And the same paragraph says something that cuts the other way, so here it is. No fees are payable under that agreement by StubHub or by Colloquy. StubHub isn't being paid for the referrals. The percentage runs from StubHub to Colloquy, not the reverse. That direction matters, and you should have it. But look at the structure. 4 boxes, all from one document. The platform refers the seller. The affiliate finances the seller. The seller lists on the platform. The platform takes its percentage of the transaction and disperses a percentage of the seller's proceeds to the affiliate. 1 fan, 1 seat, 1 price. 2 percentage claims on it, and the buyer can see neither. That's the mechanism. It's the same mechanic we spent 9 minutes establishing at the platform layer, appearing again 1 level down in the company's own words. And it requires nobody to have done anything wrong. So, let's total the ledger. The first line is the house. Approximately 20% of gross merchandise sales in average service fees per transaction charged on the marked-up price, with no ceiling anywhere in the filing. The second line is the arrangement that's growing. Seller proceeds, subject to Colloquy's security interest, were $100,000 at the end of 2024. 15 months later, $9.2 million. 4 disclosed points, 1 direction. And it isn't IPO-era boilerplate. The same disbursement sentence appears in the prospectus, the annual report, and the latest quarterly filing. 8 months apart, identical wording. 1 line runs the other way. Under a separate services agreement that ended in November, StubHub earned $3.2 million from Colloquy last year, servicing tickets Colloquy owned. Which brings us back to what the company said when the letter arrived, that it's all fully disclosed in the SEC filings, and there's nothing to add beyond what's in them. That's true, and the filings it points to contain the referral, the disbursement, and the affiliation. The defense and the evidence are the same document. Now, the part that's actually been decided. In April, the FTC entered a stipulated final order, $10 million, for advertising prices without clearly disclosing up front what consumers would actually pay. On screen, the settlement beside the window it covers. Refunds are scoped to 3 days of purchases, the 12th to the 14th of May, 2025. Because the fee disclosure rule only took effect on the 12th. That narrow window is the law's timing, not a trick. And a settlement isn't a finding of wrongdoing. Everything else is unresolved and has to be said that way. The District of Columbia's Attorney General has sued StubHub, alleging an estimated $118 million in hidden fees since 2015, across nearly 5 million tickets sold to district consumers. That's an allegation, and it hasn't been tried. The letter says the committee is investigating whether the founder has manipulated markets for his own benefit, while Americans are left paying higher costs in an unfair system. That's the letter's characterization in a request for records, not a subpoena, with an answer due the 6th of August. On this last chart, the allegations sit in their own panel, in their own color. Cover them with your hand and read what's left. The fee basis, the rate, the missing ceiling, the 18-year seller relationship, the referral, the disbursement, the growing balance. Everyone admitted, in a document the company filed itself. The autopsy doesn't need the allegations, that's the finding. Which means every reform being argued about is aimed one floor too high. You can investigate who sells, you can fine how prices are shown. Neither touches a fee that's a percentage of a number the House doesn't set and doesn't cap. That's why this story keeps running and never resolves. So, tell me where you land. Should a marketplace be allowed to charge a percentage of a price it plays no part in setting? Or is a flat fee per ticket the only version of that job with no thumb on the scale? And the toll on your seat doesn't start at resale, it starts at the venue. That's the next one in this series, and it's on